Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
I'm Jessie Cruikshank, and I've always been told I have a face for podcasting. So I launched a podcast. It's called Phone a Friend because each week I'll break down the biggest stories in pop culture. But when I have questions, I get to phone a friend. I'll phone a royal watcher to find out why Prince Harry is acting like a real housewife. I'll phone a tween to please explain Euphoria. And maybe I'll even phone a Backstreet Boy to find out if I still have a chance. I don't? Okay. New episodes drop every Thursday wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Hi, it's Dave here. This is my wife, Kathy.
Hello.
This is the Cinemile, the podcast where we walk home from the movies. And sometimes we fly home.
Yeah, we often fly home from the cinema.
And I hope Gerard Butler isn't our pilot today. Because we're going to go see a movie called Plane.
I literally
What
thought
do you
it was
think
called
it's about?
Flight.
Did you?
Yeah.
That was the Denzel Washington one.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I am pleased
For
to
some
report
yeah.
I have not even seen a poster for this film. Never mind a
What do
trailer.
you think it's about, just from the title?
Okay, Gerard Butler's in it,
Yeah.
so therefore it's a disaster movie.
Okay, yeah.
And it's called
In what sense do you mean that
Flight.
it's a disaster?
So I'm guessing what I think it is. I don't think he's a pilot.
It's not called Flight.
Sorry,
Once
it's called
again,
Plane.
it's called Plane.
I would say he's like a blue collar guy who's on the plane
Okay.
and who inserts himself into whatever's going down.
Oh, what do you think is going down?
I don't know.
like
Please, this is boring.
I actually feel like the movie that you're describing is going to be more interesting than the movie we're
I
going
feel
to
like
see.
he's going to be like the luggage handler who saves the day or something. That's like my
Okay.
general vibe.
Yes.
Like, there's no way he'll play a pilot.
No? Okay.
Though he has played a pilot in
In what?
a film that I watched with our friend Nick, who is our
It's more of a luggage handler
Gerard
kind of
Butler
guy.
correspondent.
Yes, shout out to Nick.
shout out to
Sorry,
Nick.
we couldn't. Obviously, Nick couldn't make it. But
it's
if
in
you
England and we live in Ireland, so it doesn't quite work the
if you
same.
go
as it
back
used
through our
to.
back catalogue, he's there for all the Gerard Butler movies. He's our Gerard Butler correspondent.
But I'm trying to think of what the movie was, Nick, and I saw that you didn't come.
Geostorm.
Geostorm.
To this day,
One of the best
I
movies.
regret not
One of
missing
the
out on
Best
Geostorm.
movies ever made.
That's the one where in the trailer he goes, "Sorry, I'm late, Mr. Commissioner. I came down from space."
Yeah. He's definitely a pilot in that one. It basically, if you can't tell already, Dave and I love Gerard Butler movies. We also watched during the pandemic at home. We watched Greenland.
Oh, that was
great.
Actually good.
And Nick,
Most
I'm
of the
sorry
time
we didn't
you
watch it with you either because there was a pandemic. We weren't allowed to see.
Most of the time you watch Gerard Butler movies for just to kind of laugh at them. But that was actually pretty good.
It was really good, yeah.
So yeah, I also don't know anything about this, but I have seen a poster. I've seen a poster,
Okay, when we go to the
and
cinema,
I've seen the word plane on the poster. The movie's called Plane.
when we go to the cinema, right? I'll
Plane.
keep my eyes closed, and you have to guide me through, so I can't even see the poster for it.
Oh,
Would that
okay.
be weird?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's a running theme of this podcast, 7 years this year, that Kathy considers posters a spoiler.
They are spoilers.
And I'll never forget the first time you uttered this on our podcast, and the first time I ever heard it. We were going to see that movie Life, and I said something like, "Well, it's a space horror movie," and you were like, "Come on!" And I was like, "It's on the poster. There's an evil hand on a thing," and you were like, "The poster is a spoiler."
Yeah, but going into a movie knowing nothing about it is the best way. It's like a book.
Yeah.
It's the best way to read a book, is not knowing. Anyway, I can't wait. I love Gerard Butler movies. Can't wait to see him being just a good old blue collar guy, baggage handler.
Just throwing those bags onto that plane.
He would never, though, be one of those baggage handlers who throws people's luggage. Like, he'd take care of it. He's a good guy.
Sure, but what if he is so, jaded from being an ex-cop that lost his partner
Yeah, he is often
and
jaded
daughter in
and wife.
in a tragic shooting?
And-
Maybe he's so jaded that he is throwing their
and the
their
police
luggage
sergeant, his beloved mentor.
to the back of the and the police sergeant, his beloved mentor, has now had a career change to be a pilot, and they're cross paths.
That sounds great if it's
Yeah.
his beloved mentor.
No, it would have to be his nemesis. His beloved nemesis is on the flight,
Okay.
and their paths cross.
Okay, I can't wait for that.
And then what
movie.
happens?
The more you tell me about this
Let's not go to
hypothetical
this movie. Let's just write our own Jared Butler
Let's
movie
not.
about a plane.
Let's go get some popcorn, watch this
Okay.
movie, and I literally can't wait to see it.
Me too. If we get, I might get some ice cream going
Okay.
into this. I think,
Great for you. Thank
and
you
I
for telling
think, but I'm not sure what flavour to get. What do you think? Maybe I should get plain.
me. What?
Is that
Do you mean vanilla?
is plain is a flavour
It
of
is
ice
not
cream?
a flavour.
Sure it is. It's
Vanilla.
plain. It's plain ice cream.
It's vanilla.
I mean, you knew what I meant.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Cutting right through the top of the storm. Listen, keep everybody in their seats, no exceptions, all right?
Getting everyone to have their seatbelts securely fastened.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. Trailblazer 119, we are dark. Anyone near guard, damn it. We're gonna hit. We're gonna hit. They went down somewhere in the Jolo Island cluster. It's run by separatists and militias. The Filipino army won't even go there anymore. The clock is ticking. Every minute matters. We can count those minutes in lives, lost or saved.
Guys, wait, get back. We don't know who it is. We don't know who it is. Get back.
Listen carefully. This is an emergency. I'm Captain Brody Torrance.
Hi, we're back. We've seen the movie Plane, starring Jared Butler.
And we really enjoyed it.
Can I just say,
How much fun we had?
just to clarify on my brilliant ice cream joke on the way in, I realised in my head I was thinking of plain yogurt, which is
Makes more sense.
which is
Greek yogurt.
Greek, like plain yogurt,
Yeah.
and then I was thinking of plain ice cream, but you don't get yogurt as a snack.
Your joke was
But also-
neither interesting
but
then nor now.
Isn't plain yogurt vanilla flavour? Is it not?
No,
So is there not such a thing as plain
just
ice
like
cream?
milk flavour.
Anyway,
so
that is
boring.
what was
are you talking about
preoccupying
then?
my mind for maybe 40%
Okay.
of this movie, because I actually found it quite dull.
I really enjoyed this movie.
Oh, you did? Okay. So why don't you tell the lovely listeners what it's about, Kathy?
Well, I did
Now that
see,
you saw the spoiler on the poster on the way in.
when I walked in, I did see that he was in a pilot outfit.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not a luggage handler. Really, I think I would have preferred to watch the movie you pitched.
But it's also not a natural disaster movie, which was always a 50-50 chance that it would have been just because Jared Butler's in it.
We forgot to do our pre-flight warning. If this is, we don't spoil the movie. This is the section. This is behind the curtain. This is the first class section where you get the spoiler-free snacks and privileges. And then if you're back in coach, you can head back there and get the spoilers later.
Okay, yeah. So
And
for
spoilers
now, spoiler free, just based on literally what's on the poster. He's a pilot, and he's flying a plane.
And Mike Coulter's on the poster as well, looking all Luke Cagey.
Yeah,
and
Mike Coulter, who we really like as an
broody.
actor. So it's actually like a two-hander. They're both the stars, and it's not natural disaster. It's about an incident. Actually, do you know what? It's kind of natural disaster because there's bad weather.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of natural disastery, and then
Let's give the brief synopsis here
no,
from
just the
Wikipedia.
tagline is all I'm saying about the plot,
Oh, okay,
because I
go on.
actually think a lot of people won't know the plot of it and won't care because they'll just want to see it. It says something along the lines
do they
of
want to see this? Do people want to see
landing
this?
the plane is only just the beginning.
Is that the tagline?
Something like that, yeah.
Landing the plane
Maybe
is only just the beginning. Plane.
the landing was just the beginning. It's something like that I saw when I went to the bathroom.
The landing of the plane was only the beginning of the plane.
Anyway, Jared Butler, I mean, yes, brilliant, always good in these movies.
That's your review, is it?
Mike Coulter, brilliant, love him, haven't seen him since Luke Cage. Obviously this is not a perfect movie, this is not a brilliant movie, but I really enjoyed myself, and it had elements of films that I tend to enjoy, like
what?
80s movies set in hostile environments.
I want to come back to that in spoilers because I think this film is perhaps quite old-fashioned.
It's very old-fashioned.
in its politics, perhaps as well.
And I would say that
This is very much a film of like Western democracy is good and anyone foreign is a bad guy with a gun.
I don't know if it's gone that far, but it's definitely...
feels like, come on, it's basically the politics of John Rambo.
It's definitely
This
Rambo-esque, and it's
this
very
is very much the, sorry.
It's very male, so there's effectively no female characters. It's very...
The female characters are air stewards, and they're there to
daughters.
protect. They're there to protect people and nurture them and deliver them snacks while the men do the real work.
So it is like very male and very violent.
I want to talk about that.
It's of a certain type of genre, and if I let that wash over me a little bit, and I have to say I really enjoyed it, and it's my kind of Saturday night movie.
The genre is outdated action movies, right?
Or
the 80s action. Now this is where I take
tell
issue
us
with
what
the
you
movie.
think of the movie.
Yeah, I don't think it's a great movie. It's
mean,
fine.
Obviously, it's not a great movie, but how did you enjoy it?
I was pretty bored for a lot of it, but I was quite excited in parts of it. So I'll give it that.
Some of the plane stuff was
the
really
plane stuff
cool.
I found really effective. I thought that was the most enjoyable part. I found that the movie or the screenplay had done a lot of kind of work to ground it, so to speak. Probably the wrong words. In like authentic plane talk. Like I really enjoyed the routine and the process of the pre-flight checks and the all the code that a pilot and a co-pilot would use in an emergency landing.
Planes are naturally great
we got
settings.
our feet are wet when we're over the water.
Yeah,
that kind
I
of
like
stuff.
that too.
That all felt it rang very true and authentic, and I felt like a lot of research had been done on that. So I thought all the plane stuff was very exciting. When the movie kind of gets into about a third or halfway in it kind of they enter a new situation and it becomes Gerard Butler. Literally, there's a moment where he takes off his pilot shirt and puts on a green t-shirt and becomes Gerard Butler from The Angel Has Fallen, London Has Fallen, Plane Has Fallen series, and then I'm just like, then I kind of just like checked out because it was pretty dull and pointless. And then he teams up with Mike Coulter, who basically is sidelined and gets very little to do except look cool and be broody. It's very grim. It's an ugly film, and I mean that in the way it looks, and I mean it in the way it sort of is. It's like dirty and violent. I don't actually like those Has Fallen films. I find them just like cynical and ugly, and that's where I differ with you on the... I think this movie wants to be a rompy sort of 80s action film where the good guys are good and the bad guys
I don't think it wants to be like that
rebel
because
guerrillas. But
there's no quips or like attempts at humour.
no, fine, yeah, but I guess that's the distinction for me. Maybe, perhaps, okay, fine, maybe it doesn't want to be that, but it is definitely, you yourself put it in that bracket. Mm-hmm. And that's, for me, is where it falls over, is that those movies are fun and the violence is ridiculous and entertaining. I found the violence in this to be just violent and unpleasant. And it's a 15A, which I take issue with. I don't think a 12 or a 13-year-old should be accompanied by an adult to watch Mike Coulter hammer people's heads against a wall. I found this should be a 16 in Ireland or whatever else. So yeah, I don't know. There's some entertaining enough stuff in here. I didn't really like it. No.
Okay, that's interesting. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's a brilliant movie and I'll never watch it again, but I definitely really enjoyed it. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty of the spoilers. What it doesn't have
spoilers
at all.
Now for the movie Plane.
Yeah.
Would you recommend people go see this?
If they like movies of this ilk, yes. And what it doesn't have a patch on is Geostorm. It's nothing like Geostorm.
Yeah, see, I'm more in that vibe. I haven't even seen Geostorm,
but I know
I would like Geostorm. Like, oh no, I will say this movie did hit a number of...
We just say once more,
cliches.
We're on spoilers.
This is spoilers now.
Spoilers
this movie did hit a number of cliches that you would see in a disaster movie like Geostorm. In particular, I really liked when the people back at Trailblazer HQ were like the CEO or whoever is like, what are we going to do? And then there's a moment's pause and he goes, "Get me David Zasloff."
And it's the president from Scandal basically playing Olivia Pope, but if she was like an aviation fixer.
So I really enjoyed, you always have to have the people in the control room guiding the situation.
But this is crucially where I was like, this film has no female characters, and any of these. I appreciate that the like militia like action men, like it's very unlikely you'd get a woman in that scenario, but like one of the pilots could have been female, the fixer could have been female, the CEO of the airline could have been female. Like it's way too male, and it's weird. Like it is weird.
Excuse me.
And I'm really surprised at it in this day and age. And I particularly thought when the president,
movie feels like a relic, doesn't it?
Like when the president from Scandal was there, basically being
David
Olivia
Zaslav.
Pope, I was like, wait, this actually could have just been Kerry Washington, for example. If you're going to pull from that show, pull the female.
That would have been good if it was in the Scandal universe.
I would have loved
and it was
Scandal
Kerry
universe.
Washington.
That would have been so good. But anyway, that aside, I love the aviation crisis manager. He's like, I need a press release for everyone's dead. I need a press release for the black box. I need a press release for the guys. Like that stuff, because it must be like the crisis management that goes into that stuff must be really fascinating.
A lot of that rang true. I felt like like a lot of this movie feels well researched. I think a lot of it. Mm-hmm. I think it just falls over in its. Yeah, it just feels like.
I think once they
feels like it was written by a 70-year-old man.
Once they got off the plane, I agree with you, it did lag a little bit, because it's just like Jared Butler in the jungle. Then
Jet lag?
It's Jared Butler like trying to be Rambo, but not at all being Rambo. However, I do.
Like, what was he doing? Why did he wander off into the jungle with a convicted criminal?
But that's the really interesting scenario
by
that we
himself.
haven't spoken about yet. I truly think it's an interesting scenario that they were a prisoner.
Yeah, that is a good setup.
He's told at the beginning, this prisoner murdered someone 15 years ago and he's been extradited.
But they don't do anything interesting with it.
Well,
nothing. It's just like, okay, you're coming with me. Oh, you're a useful killer in this situation. Okay.
But what they did with this was...
Never talk about it again.
It's a short enough film, right? There's a lot going on. What they did was really humanise him by casting Mike Coulter.
Did they humanise him?
I think he humanised him because he's a really good actor. And then they also...
Yeah. He's just pouting.
But he's basically badass, and they wanted him to team up with Jared Butler. And then I liked that he got the money and ran away at the end. I personally liked that as well. So I liked his ending. I liked that they rescued the prisoners together.
I liked that they took off in the plane. That was fun.
The ending was so good.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
They stuck the landing of this movie.
Yeah. Did you know, fun fact, stuck the landing is not about planes at all. It's a gymnastic term, which I only found
very interesting
recently.
Because I was laughing at the end, like they're all complaining and moaning at Jared Butler, and he eventually got a clap at the end. And I was like, I've flown from like Gatwick to Cork, and the flight's got a clap for no reason.
That's what really bothered me. They obviously put in the passengers were like had no characters, but they had the asshole, the teenagers who were TikTokers, like again written by a 70-year-old man.
The asshole didn't die, and I'm disappointed.
He got shot, so very few people died. But what I was going to say is when they first he lands the plane in the beginning, and I was like, wow, and like there was very little. Obviously they needed the plane for later, but I was like, okay, wow, I did not expect the plane to land intact, and it was an amazing landing. And then they all get out, and then he goes, okay, here's the situation, people, and they all start fucking moaning and complaining at him, and I'm like,
but actually people are like that though.
You just emergency landed your plane.
But you've seen what people are like if
you
they don't get
dead.
Like the right coffee that they've ordered. You know what I mean?
That would have been the time to clap him.
Do you know what I say? Because I only knew he was a pilot and I hadn't seen the tagline, so I didn't know. I thought the whole movie was going to be set on the plane, right?
Remind me what the tagline is again, Kathy?
I can't remember. It was something like the landing is just the beginning.
The plane has now landed. Prepare for the beginning.
Something like that, yeah. But when Mike Coulter came on, I was like, oh my god, it's Luke Cage. Like, he's a good guy, right? So like we were both saying, oh, he's falsely accused.
Yeah.
And then I thought what was going to happen. I was like, oh my god, it's a murder mystery. I thought all the people who came on the plane, one of them was the real killer, and they were coming on to like kill him before they landed.
Again, you have done it. You've pitched a better movie than the one I want to watch either the murder mystery on a plane or Jared Butler is a luggage handler getting revenge on his nemesis.
Anyway, so I thought that.
Give me those movies.
So when the ball guy came on, I was like, he's the killer. But then when the rest thing came on, I was like, wait, none of these were alive. Like, these teenagers weren't alive when the crime happened. My planet is stacking up. So
the teenagers whose entire plot was, let's take a selfie because we're teenagers. There was another moment where, like during the emergency landing, the co-pilot keeps handing Gerard Butler like a rag to like wipe the sweat from his brow.
wipe the blood from his eye.
Or whatever it was, yeah.
Because he was bleeding.
I just couldn't stop thinking of the movie Airplane in that moment. And then I realised the comedy movie Airplane is like famously like almost beat for beat a remake of a very like serious po-faced TV movie, disaster movie, which they basically just lampooned and stole the plot from. And I realised this movie could just be, this could have been that movie. Do you know what I mean? This is the straight version of Airplane. It has a lot of the same beats.
Yeah.
But like with no like self-awareness.
Yeah, but this movie does have self-awareness because it's not that genre. This movie has the adequate amount of self-awareness for what this movie is, which is Gerard Butler piloting a plane that's crashing, Gerard Butler saving everyone, Gerard Butler taking off again.
Why does he do everything?
He's so believable.
He fixes he hot wires a phone. He fixes the brakes on the plane. He's the kind of guy.
He breaks someone's neck who's like 8 times bigger than him.
No, but they set that up because they were like, how could this man be able to do this? And then they show us a video of him fucking choke holding a passenger on an airplane from a previous flight.
But when they're like,
because he didn't get his drink on time.
This is the crisis comms moment, right?
Yeah.
Because the fixer guy is like, this guy used to fly cool routes like London to Paris, but now he's flying Hong Kong to Singapore. I'm like, I didn't know that was a bad route. They're two extremely rich
Kathy,
cities.
You don't want to go from
And then he goes,
Hong
okay,
Kong
he's
to
flying this shit route. And then they go, this is why. And they pull up a video in the crisis comms room on a massive screen of a rowdy passenger punches the pilot, Gerard Butler. Gerard Butler punches him back.
Chokeholds him.
Appears to murder him.
No, he doesn't murder him. He puts him to sleep. A sleeper hold.
It's like, okay, so then he got kicked off the Paris to London line.
And then we watch Gerard Butler do that to like every other character.
You know the way they're like, Paris to London is such a hot route. That's Ryanair Central. Like Singapore to Hong Kong is a way better route.
If that was the same movie we just watched, but it was Ryanair instead of Trailblazer HQ, I would have been 100 times happier.
Ryanair would have been doing like hilarious tweets about the plane crashing and stuff. Honestly though, the poor passengers by the end, I was like, you would never get on a plane again.
They had two emergency landings successful within 24 hours. Like that's never happened
to anybody.
The whole
shootout, like just talking about the action
was
sequences.
Boring.
I thought the action sequences when Gerard Butler, there's multiple ones I thought were good in this film. So when this movie had very little CGI, right? So a lot of it actually felt very real. I mean, I presume they had a very low budget.
Yeah, they really crashed the plane.
Gerard Butler and the guy fighting, I thought that was a really good fight scene.
Oh, that was good. That was the only good one.
Really good action.
What I really liked about that was that it felt like a fight between two men would probably, in that situation, would probably go down. As in, it's not all choreographed stuff.
Yeah.
It's just two people trying to put their hands over the other one's face.
Yeah.
And it felt very raw, and I agree.
Gerard Butler going, I know how to chuckle, I've done this loads. And then I thought the sequence when they were trying to get the plane up in the air and all these dudes were trying to shoot like rocket launchers at them.
Oh, that bit was quite fun.
And Gerard Butler, like, I think decapitated, but they didn't show us because it's 15A. I think decapitated him with the wheel of the plane. And then they get up in the sky and they're all hanging out the side of the plane shooting, and then Luke Cage gets them from the side. Like, that was very good. I was properly gripping your hand.
Yeah, there was some good bits in that. But that's the thing with this movie. I'm like you are so. This movie was so intensely violent. It should have just been an 18s violent movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it just wanted to get that family audience.
No, it's not family audience. It's like distributors can't afford to bring out 18s movies unless they're going to be a smash hit. Because
like Violent Night, for instance,
are too small.
Like I found that violence to be very entertaining and comic book level. Do you know what I mean? There was kind of a joy to the absurdity of that violence, and that was very gory. Whereas I found the violence here to be unbearable, and I also did not like.
But it was off camera enough, and there was little enough blood that I can see why it got 15A.
No, but that's it. I just think the classification system needs a little bit of reviewing because, we didn't see any like contact, but it's the implication of it, and it's
There's
the
a lot of
glorification
violence,
of it. I felt that this movie glorified violence, in particular
think
the
it glorified
mercenaries.
it.
It did, in particular the mercenaries who come in to rescue them. They're just walking around like badasses, looking all cool.
Yeah, but then
and
but this is where the difference is, and I think these kind of things come into play, right?
What?
So first of all, by the end, the mercenaries were beat up and not joyous. Secondly, by the end, and I think
not joyous. Everyone was like,
I mean, but they
you
were
did it. You're a hell of a pilot.
No, but I mean, after, like, they weren't like, they were just on the plane looking really dejected, right, as it took off. And then specifically, there was a really interesting choice at the end of the film where Gerard Butler, like, everyone gets off the plane and he actually just kind of sits down and cries before he gets off the plane.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's good. Like, you don't usually see something like that. Like, at the end of Die Hard, you don't see John McClane crying, and like, he should be crying. Like, he's just been through really traumatic time. He's been shot, he's murdered someone, which he didn't want to do, and he's like, also, we know, grieving the loss of his wife very acutely. So I actually kind of, for a minute, I was like, scoffing, like, what's going on? Why is he sitting here crying? And then I thought, actually, more films should show that. And then I liked at the end when he got out of the plane and rang his daughter, and of course it was corny because she had been saying, don't be late, and he's like, you were right, I'm late. But
what was with her whole scene where she was like, we had to watch her record a video to her dad in which she heard the dialogue included lines such as, I love you, you are the best dad, I wish you were here, I hope you get this message.
Can I
it's
tell you
just
why?
like, it was V1
Can I tell
draft.
you why?
Tell me why.
Because I bet what happened is a studio executive, female, was watching the film and was like, there's been 60 minutes where no women have spoken.
Yeah.
We need a female
We need to do some
line.
reshoots.
And they were like, well, there's nowhere to fit it in.
Maybe his
so someone
daughter-
was like, oh great, his daughter can sit at home, shoot a video of herself when she knows her dad isn't receiving it.
And
that can be the voiceover.
And that'll keep the woke brigade away from us for another
No,
while.
I'm telling you, that's what would have happened, because it literally made no sense. So yeah, I say that's what that was. And you
This
know what
is
I
the
think
longest that anyone has ever spoken about this movie. It does not deserve this level of scrutiny.
It doesn't. We need to stop talking about
like,
it.
It is less than popcorn fluff. It didn't deserve a cinematic release. It wasn't
But
cinematic.
Dave, you say that though, but like cinemas,
This is straight to video
cinemas need
Netflix
films
fodder.
and cinemas need bums on seats.
Cinemas do not need Plane starring Gerard Butler.
You say that, and what did we spend tonight in the cinema? 2 tickets and some sweets. We spent like 30 quid.
Yeah.
So therefore, the cinema did need that.
And kudos to the person who served us, who went all in on the Plane puns, and I really appreciated it.
Yeah.
She said you were checking in at screen 2. She had.
But speaking of flame puns,
Yeah.
Let's
have some plain
these
yogurt
listeners
when we get home.
heard of the Cinemile High Club, which is actually what we've called our Patreon
Oh,
feed,
yeah.
and we always forget to call it that.
I always forget that that's what we did.
And if you're first class on the Cinemile High Club, you get movie and TV reviews, and we are currently reviewing The Last of Us every week.
Yeah.
We chat about that after.
By the
we
way,
watch
the
it.
third episode of that.
Fantastic.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Yeah, and we also watch retro movies every month if you're in premium economy.
Yeah, we just watched.
I can't remember the
I forget
guys.
how it goes. Economy, premium economy. I don't know. First class gets all. But yeah, we just
business class.
Cool Runnings was last. We did that, and there's
Forgotten how
another
planes
retro
work.
movie coming out.
Yeah, so anyway, head over to patreon.com/cinemile if you want to hear retro movie reviews and regular TV reviews, or come over to our socials, say hi. We're at Cinemile on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd, and
Or you can email us.
Email us.
thecinemile@gmail.com. We like getting emails.
We love getting emails,
And we love chatting to you guys. And
Yeah.
and give us an old 5-star review if you don't mind.
Yeah, wherever you listen to
That'd be
podcasts,
nice.
like and subscribe. Thanks very much.
Thank you for flying with Gerard Butler Airlines. I like that they let him be Scottish.
But okay, sorry, I don't know if we didn't say this. He's flying to Honolulu for New Year's Eve, right?
Yeah.
And he goes
From Tokyo.
in his quite
To Tokyo, the shit routes.
Yeah, so
into
he's flying
fucking
from
Japan.
Hong Kong to Tokyo, and then he's flying Tokyo to Honolulu, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, in his kind of, he's got his own accent is kind of American, kind of Scottish, right? So that's fine. So he's a full-on American accent. He's like, "See you soon, honey," and then he goes, "I can't wait for my neeps and tatties."
I
And I'm
guess
like,
nips
"What?
and tatties."
You're gonna have neeps and tatties in Honolulu? That just seems
Yeah.
really weird.
You'd have to ship in the ingredients.
And it just very strange. And I just think it's funny that they also got in, the pilot goes, "Are you English?" And he goes, "Oh hi, I'm Scottish." So he just has to get the Scottish thing in. But like, he for the rest of the film just had his own kind of American accent. Like, there was no need to bring it in. But I like obviously appreciate it. Much like I appreciate the 600 complaints the BBC got for calling Paul Mescal British.
Oh yeah,
everyone who
fair.
The same umbrage that the people took who made that complaint is the same umbrage that Gerard Butler took in this plane when the co-pilot thought he was English.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have it.
Equivalent.
Anyway.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
They're going to come at us with everything they've got. We're getting off this island.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
I'm Jessie Cruikshank, and I've always been told I have a face for podcasting. So I launched a podcast. It's called Phone a Friend because each week I'll break down the biggest stories in pop culture. But when I have questions, I get to phone a friend. I'll phone a royal watcher to find out why Prince Harry is acting like a real housewife. I'll phone a tween to please explain Euphoria. And maybe I'll even phone a Backstreet Boy to find out if I still have a chance. I don't? Okay. New episodes drop every Thursday wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.